The elves came in force from region beyond Aros and from Osiriant, and fought the first battle in the wars of Beleriand. And the eastern host of the Orcs was taken between the armies of the Eldar, north of the Andram and midway between Aros and Gelion, and there they were utterly defeated. And those that fled north from the great slaughter were waylaid by the axes of the Norgrim that issued forth from Mount Dolmed. Few indeed returned to Angband. That's a line from Tolkien's The Silmarillion describing this battle. So the scenario we're playing today is based on the aftermath of the first battle of Beleriand in 1497, where Dark Lord Morgoth had sent forth his orcs to raid the lands of the elves in a twofold attack to west and east. In East Beleriand, the orcs were caught and two-pronged attack by elves and defeated. So this game that we're playing today imagines the orcish survivors trying to make their way back north to Angband while surviving the attack of the dwarves of Mount Dolmed. The orcish commanders, Uzgoth Wargfriend, Orgel the Swift, Akdar, the captain of trolls, and Korvac the champion, must attempt to break through an ambush set by the dwarves. Nundir, lord of Mount Dolmed, is lying in wait to the west and east of the path, along with his brother Drithir and many dwarven warriors. To add to the woes of the orc host, Elwyn of Menegroth and his elven horse archers are still in pursuit and ready to harry any stragglers. Although the dwarves and elves wish to slay all the orcs, the heads of the captains will be particularly prized. Hello. Right, today we're playing a game set in the first age of Middle-earth, and it's called Waylaid by Axes. It's based after the first great battle in the first age, and the orc force here is part of a huge army that has been defeated and is trying to escape. So basically this is a pursuit scenario. There is an orc force here, and they're trying to escape off the table that way, but there's a pincer movement of elves and dwarves coming in on their flanks, so we're going to see how that plays out. We're using my own Midgard rules, which we'll talk about more in a bit, but let's get cracking on the game.
So, if I'm right, it's these guys here. Normally 6 shots. 3.
Plus 1 for marksmanship.
Okay, so that's 4, is it?
Yes,
so. Yeah. Needing. Well, there's a 6 there.
Oh, there's all 6s. Right, who is that?
It's this unit on that unit of orcs there.
Okay, so test 2 or being pushed back. They've passed it.
Okay. Same again from the other unit. It's another 6.
Another hit, same units?
Yeah.
They're okay.
Okay, and then the dwarves here will shoot at those trolls. Yep. So
you add 1 for big, so
right.
your 6 dice
half
up to
3,
4.
Up to 4.
Yeah. So they're a nice big target.
Just the one.
1 hit, right. First thing, Risk to Heroes, Akdar, the troll captain.
Funny if he gets in the face.
6. No, bounce off his head. Do his mates get pushed back? Yes, they do. No, we won't take that. We'll spend a might point to re-roll it. Okay, they stand where they are.
Cool.
And the trolls, are they going to sell their lives dearly? Yes, I think they are. So, first move, let's wheel towards the elves. So, command test required. He fails it because he's a tactical genius, can spend the might point. Oh, he's pulled it off with his amazing heroic ogre trolls abilities, rather. So he turns and he goes towards the elf. Second move, yes, he's passed it. So there we go. So he is now steaming towards the trolls, steaming towards the elves and dwarves, club ready. Right, call back the champion. So this line are going to fend off these elves. So first, Next, we'll take a move straight forward with callbacks orcs. And now we're going to have to wheel to the side. He's failed it. He's got 1 might point. Is he going to spend it on this? Yes. He's done it. Good man. Okay. Right, let's get his mates up. So same problem for his mates. Can they wheel around? No, they can't. What the hell, leave them there. Useless. Right, let's get on with the main counter-attack over here. These orcs are going to run the gauntlet of dwarves. So, straight ahead for your charge. And second move, yeah, they have done it. They can see freedom over there. They're going for it. Up here, yeah, they're going to wheel this way first. Failed. What the hell, leave them there. Right. This is the big one. Uzgoth, the orc commander, the commander of the whole army, is going to try and pile his orcs forward up here. So, 1 move straight forward. Command test for the second move. They failed it. Well done, lads. Fortunately, Uzgoth is... Oh, he is. He's within range. Get moving! Spend a point. And they've heard him. So, up they go that way. Right, next one's... straight forward for now. Can they do a second move? No. Get moving. Yes. It's all fragmenting here in a proper early medieval battle style. The orcs really is every man for himself. This would be a funny game with multiple players, in fact, because you could have different people commanding different contingents. Right, let's get these guys up. First move. And call it a day. So at the end of that round, we've got the trolls piling in towards the elves over here, a few orcs making a break for it, and the main orc body is still well in the dwarf ambush zone.
So James, when you were moving then, I noticed that you were using some sort of hero points to re-roll failed moves or something along those lines. What was that about?
Might points are a key element of the game in that all the heroes get a certain number of might points each turn and can spend them in different ways. In this case, because the orcs are trying to get away, they can use them in combat, which is often their best use, but here they were using them to re-roll failed command tests. So units under their command that could see or hear them, essentially when they've cocked it up, you can spend 1 and re-roll it. And you can keep re-rolling until you run out of points. But then, of course, you've got to get through the rest of the turn and you've run out of might points. So the orcs may regret this later on in the turn. Okay, so rules we're playing today are Midgard. This is my own set of rules that we're playtesting at the moment and is still in progress. Midgard is basically a really fast play fantasy battle game, but it's a very narrative experience. It's very much based around the heroes going around the battlefield, leading their troops, fighting single combat, shooting enchanted arrows and stuff to bring down monsters. But I wanted a game where the tactics made sense. So where units were not just rushing around, where you actually got a battle line, where units were supported, where skirmishes were important. So what I've tried to do basically is write the simplest set of rules that I can to have maximum flavour. And the game works basically with individually based heroes. So things like Nundir, our dwarf king, who's in our game today, on round bases or whatever bases you've got, but also on units that are mounted on rectangular bases. And the great availability of MDF, 3D printing and Sabo bases has made that really easy. So we use a wide variety of figures from across our collections and don't need to rebase anything. So yeah, that's Midgard.
this combat here then, so as a recap, we've got 12 dice for that unit.
Yep.
A couple from the hero that are attached.
Yep.
They've got 6 dice. And Nundir, who's with them, is throwing in his dice as well, which is another 4, one of which is the red dice, is his magic weapon, because that's
going to be bad for the orcs.
Yeah.
And the orcs are fighting with half dice, they're fighting with 6 because they've been hit in the flank by Nundir's unit, so I don't predict great things here. Right, let's...
An extra 3 dice because they're a particularly tough bodyguard unit as well.
Oh, yes.
So I'm looking for 5s.
You can reroll ones as well, you charged.
Right, let's pick out the... It doesn't look that great, it has to be said.
Any ones you can reroll?
Yeah, we'll have a look in a moment. So we've got those... Oh no, his magic weapon managed to get a...
Ow, okay.
So this whole section gone, isn't it?
Yeah, that's bad.
Right. Okay, and I've got another... Oops, 3 that I can reroll.
Another hit.
So another hit.
Right, so what are we looking at? So the orcs are on the 3. Similar to Train Rampant, so 3, 3... 2, but that's 1 by itself. The orcs are going to get hammered here, let's face it.
Yep.
The orcs have scored 3 hits, and there's no support on the main fighting unit. So we just need to risk to remove sections, and then let's do risk to heroes. The orcs have got 1 supporting unit, so we'll roll.
Don't the dwarves get a save for that unit in behind them, or are you saving their save for the other combat?
It's on them.
Oh, okay.
Right, the orcs have made no saves. So, bang. 2 sections killed by the dwarves,
Yep.
and 1 by
Hammered.
Nundir's magic hammer.
Yep.
Ouch.
I hadn't even thrown any might points into that combat. So.
No. They're in trouble. There's no heroes in my unit, however. That unit takes 3 hits, it won't damage them because their armour is 4, but it does mean Drithir is going to need to take a risk to heroes test, just 1.
So I'm just avoiding...
Anything but a 1.
Anything but a...
Anything but a 1. 3 will do you nicely, you're okay. Right, the orcs are in serious trouble there. So, first job, the orcs are going to need to retreat. Now, because they're down to their last base and they're cowardly, they'll take a test to see if they break. They don't, they fight on manfully, or orcfully I guess. But because they've got a unit in the flank, they can't retreat, so they automatically lose a stand, so they are wiped out. Excellent. And both dwarf units must pursue, unless you want to hold back.
No, I think we need to pursue, don't we really? So is that half
a spear throw straight forwards.
Okie doke. Just that there. And take the heroes with them that are attached. Oops.
Notice. Ouch. Right, we always get asked at shows about the terrain every single time, so I really am a big fan of terrain cloths and I like making my own as well. This one is made out of a material called Sherpa fleece. It's very, very good to put hills and things underneath, as you can see from the rest of the board. And it's basically been distressed because it's essentially plastic. You can melt it with care with a heat gun, you can shave it down, you can trim it with scissors, and essentially I've done all those techniques to it. I've glued on some patches of traditional teddy bear fur as well, which I've dyed green, and glued in things like this little heather patch down here and grass tufts, and all that together just gives it the general feel of being a ready-to-play gaming service. It's exactly what I wanted. I wanted this moorland look for the Tolkien-esque terrain. We've got quite a lot of drop-on terrain on this as well. So we've got various rocks made out of chippings of bark with trees glued into them, things like that. These have been slightly weighted in the bottom so they sit nice and flat on the surface. One thing you find with this kind of surface is things figures on small bases can fall over it and so forth. So again, units are based on magnetic movement trays to get them moving around, and generally we're using dice trays. This is a nice kind of Celtic themed one by Handiwork Games featuring John Hodgson's artwork. So these are good to keep the gaming area tidy and play on top of. Most of the trees are just commercially available trees, but mounted up and based in interesting ways to give us the terrain. One strange thing about the armies actually is they've pretty much all come from different ranges, and I've accumulated them mostly over the last year. I had a lot of figures from playing the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game when it came out in the early 2000s, and I've basically added to it with this, but I've also used some really quick painting and basing techniques to get stuff on the table. So, starting on the left-hand side, we have the Dwarf Army, which is nearly all made up of Vendel miniatures, who are now sold by Thistle and Rose in the US, but also a lot of Conqueror miniatures. These are all sculpted by Colin Patton, who used to be the main sculptor at Gripping Beast, and they've got a fantastic Dark Age look to them. I think Tolkien would have completely approved of these. There's a few of the Oathmark character figures in there as well, which are absolutely beautiful Mark Copplestone sculpts. Moving on to the Orc Army, this is possibly the fastest army I've ever painted, because really I was after massed figures. I've put the figures 12 to a base in the units to give that impression of a large clan of orcs, basically. There's a lot of Games Workshop plastic Lord of the Rings orcs in there, but there's also a lot of the Oathmark and Osprey orcs, which have also lent conversion parts. These, you've probably seen these kits. These are absolutely brilliant, because in every kit you get lots and lots of spare arms, spare heads, spare equipment. They're fantastic for getting a load of other figures and changing them to make them look similar. So there are Gripping Beast Viking figures in here, for example, who've had an orc head, added an orc arm from Oathmark, and they look the business. There's quite a few conversions in the Wolf Riders as well, and I need to mention the Trolls, because people always ask about the Trolls. There's loads of great troll figures. We in our group really like the ones from Reaper Bones. They're only a few pounds each, they're plastic, but they're fantastic models, and once you've got the hang of painting them, they are brilliant to get large units on the table. Skipping down the line, we have the Elves. The Elves are conversions. I've got a lot of the Oathmark plastic elves, which very much for me fulfill my idea of first age Tolkien elves, but they haven't released cavalry yet. So to create the horse archers, I took Gripping Beast Arab cavalry figures and basically attached an Oathmark elf from the waist. There was a bit more fiddling around than that, but one thing I've really loved about this project is just being able to convert all the various plastics. We're in a real golden age of plastic figures at the moment, and it's great fun taking something and making it your own by converting it. One question we get asked this kind of game is, why are you gaming the first stage of Middle-earth rather than the third age, in which Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are set? And there's a twofold answer, really. One is that Peter Jackson's movies, whatever you think of them, have projected a particular impression of Middle-earth to the outside world, and they've added lots of detail. In the first stage of Middle-earth, you haven't got that level of imagined detail, so actually by going back to the original source material, to Tolkien's The Silmarillion, and have a look at some of the expanded work like the artwork of Ted Naismith, for example, you can build up a bit more of your own picture of Middle-earth in that time. The other reason to game it really is that in the first age of Middle-earth, the balance of power is different. The elves are the dominant culture on Middle-earth. Lots of their armies use horse archers, for example, and the orc armies, while still have orcs and trolls, they are often led by werewolves. Balrogs are actually lieutenants of Morgoth the Dark Lord, so can lead his armies out in the field. And you have dragons such as Glaurung and stuff in the mix as well. So it's quite a different feel. I often think about World War II in that if you game World War II, Normandy 1944 is very common fodder. People are familiar with all the troop types, the weapons, the tanks and so forth, the battles. But if you go back to 1940, you find quite an interesting different mix as a gamer. So that's another reason why first age. Well, we're playing a game today called My Voice is Screwed. We love collecting figures of this period. No.
That's going in the blooper reel at the end then.
You could emerge from it.
Yeah.